Welcome, everybody, to another episode here on the Iowa State Cycles Live here at the Voice of College Football Network. I was Levi Stevenson. And as I've mentioned before, now of CF After Dark. And as promised to you a couple weeks ago, we are going to do a lot of offensive line talk today. We are going to absolutely dig into these guys as much as I can. I've got PFF grades on pretty much everybody, most people. And I've got I've got tape on some of these guys that I could actually find. Some game tape, some huddle tape. I was hoping to get Jake Remsburg. He wasn't able to make tonight work. So sorry, no Jake Remsburg tonight. I was hoping for it, but maybe sometime this offseason we might be able to get him on here. Moved to a Wednesday because of the basketball game last night, and I didn't want to be streaming while everybody else was trying to watch the basketball game. Mostly because I also want you guys to watch the show, and I didn't. I was watching the basketball game, so that's why. So, like I said, today, big offensive line extravaganza. We'll talk a little bit about kind of some of the first kind of public comments we've gotten from Jimmy Rogers. I mean, a lot of it's just kind of generic-ish coach speak. But at least you can kind of get a my hat is crooked. It's pissing me off. There we go. Okay. So, but for the most part, it is you can get at least a little bit of a look into kind of where his mind's at with a lot of this stuff. And I do appreciate some of his comments as well. But as I said, first off, offensive line. So I say it's got a number of new guys in the room. A couple returners, Braden Simonson, Garrett Rutledge, Dontrell Holt, Gabe Greenlee, Austin Barrett. Kept some guys in the room that you really wanted to keep there. So that's good. There's a few guys you lost that you would have liked to keep, but overall, I think they've done a good. The guys they kept, I think, are good to keep around. And but I would guess that Austin Barrett is probably the main one out of that group that has a chance to be in the starting lineup. And maybe he's probably maybe you pencil him in at center right now, I would say. But I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I don't know if Gabe Greenlee or Braden Simonson, I don't know if they're really in line to play right now. Dontrell Holt, maybe, he'll be in the mix, I would imagine, but we will kind of see what's going on with him. But we're going to kind of go down the list here. So what I was able to do is get some PFF grades for a few of these guys. They've got, now this past year, they've got it's grades from this past season. So if they didn't play this past season, they don't have any grades from this year. And then there are a few guys on here that, like Tyler Miller and James Neal, obviously, that have graduated that are not there. But we can at least compare these guys around and kind of see where they're at. So right off the bat, these are tackles. These are guys that PFF has listed as a tackle. You have Masai King, Gavin Proudfoot, Colin Amick are the returners there. Obviously, Tyler Miller and James Neal are now departed. You can see right here, I know the last staff was really high on James Neal. For the life of me, I never understood it. Obviously, he was a full-time starter. Some of these guys, were hurt a little bit, whatever it is, or didn't play full-time, whatever it is. But, I never understood the hype around James Neal as a tackle. I hope he pans out because it'd be great for Iowa State. But he just wasn't very good last year, especially in pass blocking. And I think that reflected itself. You can see it reflected here in his PFF grade where he's at a 43.5, which is a bad score. All three of the transfers come in, ranked higher than him, and and significantly so especially in pass blocking. None of them are bad run blockers, but some of them are just very average. But first up, we are going to dig into Masai King, who I believe is probably the best. I believe he's probably the best offensive line transfer that they brought in. So we'll take a look at him right now. Carr says, were you surprised at how many guys that returned that didn't make it public? I mean, I guess how many were, how many were there? I mean, is it like a handful or something like that? I guess maybe like if you look at like Dontrell Holt, you maybe would have expected him to announce or something like that. But it's it's kind of up to the guys, I guess, and whether they decide to announce or not. It's kind of for me, it's kind of a whatever thing. Like that doesn't really, I don't know. I mean, the announcements we all got tired of the announcements too. So I'm not complaining that not everybody decided that they had to announce. And I feel like, a guy like Dontrell Holt not announcing that he's coming back, but he's just still here. I feel like shows that to me that shows that he was never really like considering leaving, maybe, maybe he's just not a big social media guy. I don't know him personally, but to me that at least says that he was probably going to be staying if it wasn't like I'm gonna come back or whatever like that. Like it's just like he's here type of thing. But we're gonna look at Masai King, who I think is the best transfer, best guy of the bunch. Masai King graded out as a 67.2 last year, 63.4 on pass block, 65.8 on run block. Played a lot of snaps, 524. Not the like every down guy that like James Neal and Tyler Miller were. But played some heavy snaps, especially at right tackle for Akron. Obviously played full snaps the first game. I think he kind of picked up an injury through here. And was a little hobbled, whatever we call it. He was on a little bit of a pitch count, and then obviously towards the end kind of picked it up here a little bit. And then by here, Akron's season is gone. Well, actually by about there, Akron's season is gone. But especially in the middle, he's picking up snaps here too. So overall, this is, as far as returning tackles on the team, this is probably your best guy. If right now, I would be pretty surprised if he's not immediately penciled in as the starting right tackle. He played mostly right tackle at Akron. Left and right tackle is not a big, necessarily a big difference, just kind of whichever side they're more comfortable on, I guess. Right now I would pencil him in as your starting right tackle. So given that he played at Akron, obviously not like super easy to find a lot of good scouting tape on these guys. Because he played at Lackawanna College for in 23 and 24, transferred up to Akron for 25, and is now transferred up to Iowa State for 26. So there's not a lot of tape of him before last year, but I was able to find a couple snaps of him in this game against Kent State. I'll point him out here. So here is Masai King right here with that white sleeve. There's a couple snaps here I picked out here that I think are interesting. So this is on a run block. He's coming in. You got the left guard coming in on a stunt, or not a stunt, on a stunt. You have a pulling left guard there. I went too far back. Or is it might be a right guard too? So, but anyways, you got. I think it's the right guard here. Oh no, it's a tight end coming around. Never mind. Ignore me. So 10 in. But what I want to show you here though is that this is an inside zone coming left. It's a duo, split zone duo here, and you've got tight end coming across here. But Masai King here does a nice job of just sealing his guy off to create that running lane through here, which I really like. So watch him again. Does a nice job getting his guy turned, creating that lane for him. Maybe you like to see him drive back a little bit more, but overall a pretty good rep for him. Again, right here in the sleeve on right tackle. Does a really nice job here. Kind of a weird little play, but does a nice job. This defensive end is trying to he's kind of just trying to play the run here, but Masai's doing a nice job of kind of sealing this thing off. Or obviously he's getting a hand to the face right there pretty quick, but even if that run goes outside, that defensive end is fairly well tied up. sleeve right here. Here's a nice, I think this should be a pass blocking rep for him. Gets over, does a nice job. Not a super like high pace rep, for him. This I don't know if this defensive end is any good or not. He was playing for Kent State. I'm not sure he's great, but overall, he's got a good wide base. Plays with good legs, plays with good feet. Let's see, you can get a nice shot of him right there. Back this up a couple seconds. Yeah, good rep. Good rep there from Masai. Right there, the right tackle again. Didn't go his direction, but did a good job sealing his guy off. So, this is a guy, he plays with a good base. There's a reason I think he's starting to get some, he's got some kind of light NFL talk around him right now. My guess is if he has a good season at Iowa State, he will get more. This absolutely has a chance to be your, came from Princeton. I cannot think of his name for the life of me right now. But guy comes in from a lower school, plays well, plays his way into an NFL draft conversation too. So overall, really like Masai King as a player. I think he's going to be. I think he will be your starting right tackle going into next season. So I like Masai King. Next up, we're going to talk about Gavin Proudfoot, another tackle coming in from UNI. He also played right tackle. Jalen Travis. I forgot Jalen Travis because when you start looking at a bunch of these names, when you've been staring at about a million names here for the last hour, it gets really easy to forget some of these guys. But yes, Jalen Travis. Masai King can be your next Jalen Travis type. Gavin Proudfoot. Graded out this season much, obviously took a good step up this season up to a 64.5, 69.7 pass block grade, 58 run block grade, 59 run block grade. Another guy in that 500 to 600 snap range. So not a every down tackle, but probably their main, he's their main rotation guy at right tackle. So overall, a solid grade there. And like I said, he graded out as, he right now at last season would have graded out as I would say it's second best tackle. I'm going to crank this so my head's not, I don't have to crane my neck around all this way. Should have thought of that ahead of time. That getting a little bit better. Nope, getting worse. Sorry, I'm good. All right. So anyways, we're Gavin Proudfoot's one of our better transfers here coming from UNI. And he's got a good chance to get some good run in here. Man, this isn't formatting the way I wanted to. Apologize for the technical error. But anyways, I think this is absolutely a contender to be a left tackle kind of guy. He's got a left tackle body. He's a very tall guy. I want to see if I can find him. He's a big body. So for reference, Masai King comes in at 6'4", 310. Gavin Proudfoot is 6'7", 300. So he's a tall guy, very much a left tackle type body there. Carr says, do those PF grades take into account level of competition they face, thinking a difference between UNI, Akron, and Montana? Sort of yes and no. It's not like Ken Palm where like there's like a factor built into it. It's just how good of a rep was it, essentially. It's like, did they do their job on that play? And that's what PFF grades aren't perfect because part of it is that PFF doesn't know what the offensive line or what they don't know. They don't automatically know what that player was trying to accomplish on that play. For the most part, like a lot of us when we're watching film can take a pretty good guess of what this player was supposed to be doing. But like let's say a wide receiver, he runs a perfect go route, 100 out of 100 go route. But the quarterback, the play is that they're supposed to do a 10-yard hitch route. And the quarterback is waiting for it, throws it for a 10-yard hitch route, and it gets intercepted. PFF is going to read that as that was a bad throw by the quarterback. It's a bad rep. What they should have read is that the wide receiver blew their thing and the quarterback was throwing exactly where he was supposed to throw it. So that kind of thing is it's not as easy for PFF to gauge some of that stuff, but at least we can get a general idea. You know, for the most part, they're pretty good about figuring out kind of was this a good rep for them. So we can look at these and at least glean some information as just the kind of the general quality of the player. You know, on a play-by-play basis, it's not, you know, the data gets better the further you zoom out. You can see overall, this is generally how good this player is. If you look at this play, you know, they got a 40 grade or a 60 grade or an 80 grade or whatever it is, or a 100 grade, you know, on a play by play level, I think the data loses a little bit of accurate. I don't know if accuracy is the right word, but it loses a little bit of precision and it loses a little bit of weight the more you zoom in on a play-by-play basis. But when we step out and take a look at this from a higher elevation, it's generally pretty good data to at least get an idea of kind of where these guys fall. So let's take a little look at Gavin Proudfoot. So Gavin Proudfoot here is right at the right tackle. Here he's number 70. He's got this little right. You can kind of keep an eye on here with this little right arm guard there. And now keep in mind, I believe he's a senior. Gavin Proudfoot is a redshirt senior. So actually Ryan Clanton would have recruited him to UNI and coached him for his first couple of years. So if you're a big Ryan Clanton supporter, here's a Ryan Clanton guy for you. You know, it's not even like, it's not impossible that he may have still ended up at Iowa State to play for Ryan Clanton this offseason. So let's take a look at Gavin Proudfoot. Nice run rep here. Let's start off. Look at him. Another guy running that upright Genty stance. I wonder if that's starting to catch on where like backs are like, they're just trying it out because they're just like, oh, this is kind of weird. And then they just start doing it. And now we're going to see a bunch more people doing this Genty straight up stance. But anyways, interior run does a nice job sealing his guy off right there. And him doing his job there is what created that little bit of a cutback lane. The running back didn't find it, but his guy's got okay leverage here. But Gavin gets his guy turned and gets him pushed outside. And if not for that defensive tackle, hold on to his leg, that creates a nice little cutback lane for him. And what's important here is this type of set is a pro style set. You will see Iowa State line up in something very similar to this at some point this season, where you've got a receiver on each side. You've got two tight ends on the one side and the one back in the backfield coming out of under center. I would almost be shocked if you don't see Iowa State line up in this exact set at some point in the season. And when you have a guy that's used to blocking on nice downhill runs like this out of a single back set, that's valuable. Does a nice job and turns his guy right to the outside. Women are up at halftime, 41-28. That's awesome. I'm not sure. I can't remember who they were playing tonight, but that's awesome. They need a win bad. He does a good job here too of getting just inside to get his position and then maintaining his leverage, maintaining his lean, and just turning his guy outside. That's a nice run blocking rep from him there. So here he is again at right tackle. Nice pass block rep for him. Does a good job. Not like I wouldn't call him, I wouldn't call that defensive end like the elite of the elite. But a nice rep here from Gavin Proudfoot. He's got a good base. He's using his hands. He's got good feet right now. Got his feet a little close together for my taste, but that's okay. Doing some hand fighting. Defensive end tries to spin back in. He says, "Fuck you," and gets out. Good rep. I like that. I like that rep a lot from Gavin Proudfoot. So this is an RPO rep from Gavin. I don't know if there's much to look at here. because he's going to be diving in to sell this RPO basically. Well, not really to sell it. I mean, he is run blocking for the RPO, but he's going to yank it and pull it. So right here, right tackle. Let's pull that. Let's back that up just a touch. Kind of gets thrown off a little bit, but does a nice job recovering and fighting his guy off. Not much he can do with the rest of this, but pushes his guy forward. I mean, this Gavin, to me, he plays like a well-coached lineman. We're at Youngstown here. Let me see if I can find another UNI possession. Here we go. Lined up right tackle again. Another good run seal. Or another, I guess it wasn't a run seal, but he did a good job. Actually, well, it actually is a run seal because this is an RPO. So he's creating, you've got this tight end coming in here that's trying to create this lane for the running back to run through. This is another split zone. Does a nice job sealing his guy off. If he handed that ball off and ran through that hole, he'd have all day. Love that penguin helmet from Youngstown. Another right there, right tackle. So he's got, I mean, if you watch him, he gets off the line pretty well, does a good job getting back into his form, keeps good feet there. It's good. I mean, this is a guy the more I'm watching of him, I really think Gavin's got a chance to another good pass threat. Just kind of got away with a little bit of hold there, but let's back it up just a touch. So does a good job getting off the line. He's dealing with a little bit smaller, a little bit faster D end. Kind of throws him off to the side. So we're here. He's down with a hand in the dirt, which means this is probably going to be a run blocking set for him. Probably an RPO or play action. Oh, look at that. That's a good rep right there. Let's check this out again. Love this. This is another set. I would guess we'll probably see something like this in Iowa State's playbook as well. So we're going to see him. We're going to see the whole line's going to crash down to the left, and Gavin here is going to seal off that linebacker. Excellent job. Great rep from Gavin there. Swing in. Get to the second level. Kind of missed his linebacker a little bit there, so not a perfect rep, but he got to the second level in a hurry. So he's going to go here and he's going to hit this middle linebacker up here. So, bang, yeah, the middle linebacker is a little bit smaller, fought his way around. So you'd like to see him hit him a little bit harder, but overall, good rep from Gavin there. We'll watch one or two more here. Around a field goal here. We get see if we can find one more UNI possession. I'm kind of having fun watching Gavin here. This is kind of fun. So he'd be out over here on the right tackle on the other side. Oh, good block. Oh, back to Youngstown State, I guess. Oh, back to UNI. Okay, let's see what we got. Gonna be over here at right tackle. I seal. Good block. I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan here of Gavin Proudfoot. We'll have to see what some of the other guys look like. Jake Taylor from Oklahoma didn't play last year, so I don't have any good recent tape on him. I ran out of time to specifically look for Gavin Brocious, but I'm sure we could probably find some tape here pretty quick. But overall, I like Gavin Proudfoot. I think he's got a real chance to be in this starting lineup or at least be a heavy part of this rotation early on. He'll get his chance for sure. So I'm a big fan of Gavin Proudfoot. Let's move on to Colin Amick. Washington State played 440 snaps, registered just a shade under a 60 overall grade. So just slightly above average. A good pass blocking grade at 71.4, not as good run blocking grade at 54.4. I had a hell of a time finding tape of him. I even looked at here, because I believe this one right here, this week 8 was the Apple Cup against Washington. Watched a good chunk of that game, or not even necessarily a good chunk, but I watched the highlights from that game. Could not find Colin Amick anywhere. So, I don't know. I tried to find Colin Amick film. It was going to be a little bit more digging than I was maybe anticipating. So, maybe sometime we'll find some more Colin Amick film, but, he grades out as a good pass blocker, came from Washington State, so Jimmy Rogers knows him. I would guess that he's probably at least in the running for a rotation spot. I probably would not pencil him in as a starter, more of a depth piece as of right now. But, you like that pass blocking grade, and and that's for Washington State. So he's playing Power 5 opponents. They played 3 playoff teams and almost beat 3 playoff teams. So there's a shot here. We'll see what his running blocking grade and how that fits in Tyler Roll's offensive scheme. So we'll see how he fits in there. But overall, I mean, he's a good guy to have in the room for sure. Let's see if I can find him. So Colin Amick's a redshirt sophomore, so he's got time to grow as well. And 6'6", 292, he's got good size. Could stand to put on probably. I would say he probably could stand to put on probably 30 pounds. Oh, Colin Amick was the Montana kid, not Washington State. That's true. Yep, that's my bad. I was thinking of he was. Oh wait, no, Colin Amick. Colin Amick played for Washington State. He's literally right there. Or does Iowa State have it wrong? So either Iowa State has it wrong or something's going on here. But I don't know. Well, I guess it's possible. I mean, I don't know. I haven't checked if Colin Amick was at. I am deeply confused here. So does Iowa State have it wrong? Let me pull this up. So Colin Amick came from. Yeah, he came from Montana. This is strange because he came from Montana. But Iowa State's got him. Iowa State has him listed as the 247's got him as at Montana. So I'm not sure why Iowa State has him at Washington State. And that would explain why I couldn't find him in the Apple Cup footage because he was playing for Montana. So I guess that would explain that. So maybe at some point we can find some Colin Amick tape, but I was apparently not looking in the right place because Iowa State has it wrong on their website. So next up, so I believe actually that's all the tackles. Yes, that is all the tackles. So overall, I mean, Masai King, Gavin Proudfoot seemed like your, yeah. So I spent maybe like 5 or 10 minutes looking at it, just kind of peeling through it. But so no, it wasn't a massive time sink, but Masai King, I think is you pencil him in at one of the tackles. I think Gavin Proudfoot right now, based on what I'm seeing, I think I had pencil him in at the other tackle. I mean, Jake Taylor seems like an interesting thing. He didn't play last year. There's not a lot of tape of him. He played like 4 games in 2024. He played like 8 games in 2023. So any significant playing time tape of him is a couple years old. But those are Iowa State's tackles. So now we're up to the guards. Braden Smith, Gavin Brocious are your new additions. Braden Smith, really like these numbers here. 71.3 overall grade, 81.8 pass block grade. Big fan of that number. 69.8 run block grade. Good. Obviously puts him even above, Dylan Barrett. I'd have to look at like Trevor Boer. I'd have to look at like what Trevor Boer was last year. Actually, now I'm curious because I can just search for him. So Trevor Burr graded out as a 64.5 last year. And this guy graded out just a touch better. So, I like that right now. So I believe he would have graded out as Iowa State's best guard and actually maybe best overall lineman last year, which is funny because the offensive line was actually pretty decent last year as a group, but individually, Braden Smith might have been the best lineman on the team last year. Redshirt sophomore coming in 6'4", 290, coming in from Tarleton State. Now, granted, he's coming up from FCS level, but Tarleton State's a good program. They do a nice job there. So I would guess they'll probably be in the FBS pretty soon. I know they've been trying because they were D2 not that long ago. Then they moved it to FCS. And now they're trying to move into I think they would like to move into the FBS at some point. So, good program there. Putting together that number is very good. I would guess he could definitely be one of your starters. DeAndre Carter, I think, is another one. I don't think he has any PFF grade last year because he pretty much just only played special team snaps. But actually, let me see. I don't think DeAndre Doofus. I don't believe they had DeAndre Carter. I don't think they had any grades for him. Yeah. So no grades for DeAndre Carter, but we're gonna look at him in just a little bit. But we've got a few different guys in this class that I think are really interesting. I think Gavin Brocious makes a lot of sense as one of your pencils in because he was a starter for Michigan State last year. Get back to the Iowa State page. Damn it, messed it up. See, it has to reload the whole page. That's deeply annoying. I don't know why it does that. But Gavin Brocious and Braden Smith right now. We'll see what DeAndre Carter fills in like, but I really like Braden Smith. He's got good size. I would like to see him put on probably 20, 30 pounds. Oh, Braden Smith was a high school teammate of Jaden Jackson. Okay, sure. That makes sense. Like him. Said there's not a lot of tape of him, right? I haven't been able to find a lot of tape of him because he's at Tarleton State, and there's just not a lot of good tape that comes out of the FCS. Obviously, I found some, but wasn't able to find a ton on him. So solid. I really like these grades. He seems like a really nice player. I think I would guess he's probably going to figure into this rotation, especially at guard. And so we'll see. We'll see what he looks like with Austin Barrett, DeAndre Carter, and all those guys too. So let's look at Gavin Brocious. If you guys have seen pictures of him, he's got the half bar down the middle of it. So he's wearing that old school face mask, which is hella cool. Graded out as a 60.6 last year, 61.5 on pass block, 60.7 run block grade, just shade over 500 total snaps. I really like him. I know his grade isn't as high as like Braden Smith or something like that. I get it. But he has played a lot of snaps in his career. I was hoping I could find like a year by year stats for him, but actually I probably can. But there's he's played a lot of snaps in his career, and I would like to I wonder if I can see me do this in real time. I realize this is probably not going to be super this isn't great radio. I get it. But I want to see if I can find Michigan State season grades. Hello. Okay. Let's just go regular season. What did he mostly play in? Oh, did I mess that up? Dang it. Here we go. Can reload him. Let's see if we can find the games he played in the most. So like week 8. Look at here. Oh, the Indiana game. Sure. Let's look at blocking. I think I found a page earlier that has what I'm looking for. Gavin Brocious had a little bit of a rough game against Indiana, but who doesn't? Here we go. So last year graded out as a 49.8, 23.1 pass block, which is obviously not good, but obviously he was much, much better this year. Now great because he only got 65 total snaps last year. So obviously he was just kind of thrown in there when he wasn't ready last year. But, this year plays 485 snaps, grades out a lot better. Overall, had some nice games here against Boston College, Youngstown State, against at Iowa. I mean, that's big. Having a nice pass block grade against Iowa is very good. Obviously had a rough game the next week against Maryland, but he overall though, I mean, I think this is a nice player that you can work in there. I said, I'd like to, if he's going to play guard, I'd like to see him get another 10, 15 pounds on there. But, overall, I think Gavin Brocious seems like a nice player. I would right now probably pencil him into one of the guard spots right now. This is assuming now one of Gavin Brocious, DeAndre Carter, and Austin Barrett is going to have to, and Dontrell Holt, one of them, someone's going to have to move to center. But I mean, unless the kid from the Colorado School of Mines does, which he, let me see if I can find him again. So that is Cade Meyer. PFF doesn't even do grades for Division II. So finding out much of a scouting report on Cade Meyer is hard because we don't have access to scouting tape. There are services that do you can buy a subscription to these services to get all 22 film on teams. It's a very expensive service, and there's a reason that only athletic departments can afford that. I cannot afford that, and I'm not going to afford that. So I don't have a lot on Cade Meyer, unfortunately. Colorado School of Mines, I think, is a pretty decent D2 program for whatever that's worth. But we'll see. I don't think he's probably the starter. I would guess you're probably looking at moving Austin Barrett inside, letting him be the starter, or Dontrell Holt, or just one of these interior linemen. I think you're probably going to find your center in that group. And maybe it's Braden Smith. I don't know. I like Braden Smith's numbers here. So a couple of guys on the roster I wanted to take a look at because they're young, so they don't have a lot of tape. DeAndre Carter is one of them, and the other one is Trevor Bindle. Neither of them have a lot of tape because they're young, but Trevor Bindle's coming over from Washington State. And then DeAndre Carter's coming over from Auburn. So let's take a look at Trevor Bindle. I believe he's just going to be a redshirt sophomore this year, so he hasn't played a lot. Oh, buddy, you just wait. We're going to be Jackson Pence and I have some stuff coming up for After Dark /CFs for scouting reports. Just be patient. Those things are coming. It might be closer to the end of basketball season, but we're going to put it together. It's going to be really cool. So let's take a look at some Trevor Bindle action here. Granted, again, disclaimer, this is huddle tape. This is literally meant to make him look good, but we can at least look at physicality, some technique stuff. So he's even as a redshirt freshman. Yeah. So let's back up just here a second here. And he's in Missouri Class 6. Missouri isn't the best state for things, but he's playing at a high enough level, so he's playing against some decent players. Okay. This rep is kind of funny because his job is not to pick up that defensive end because it's that you have that tight end coming across on the split zone. But he looks goofy as shit, but he kind of poor form, but he goes over and just wrecks that linebacker. So I appreciate it. I appreciate a good mauler. Just kind of a goofy thing that only ever happened in high school type of highlight, but does a good job getting to the second level, runs over some dudes, playing the snow here. Hell yeah. Okay. Guy plays mean. Big fan. See him moving inside, runs a dude over. I like that. Keeps driving. It feels like a little extra on top of there. I appreciate the aggressiveness and the in your face and all that or whatever. Like, but yeah, that like that kind of stuff is like fun to watch, but it's kind of a ooh, okay. I like that rep. That's kind of like a that would never happen if like the Blind Side movie didn't exist. But we'll take a look at him on this rep here. So he gets his guy, gets him sealed off. It's 55 right here. So gets him sealed off and just drives him back, puts him on his ass. I mean, that's for a tackle that's not on the play side of the formation. It's about as good a rep as you can ask for. Like that. Let me back that up just a second. So he's gonna be on this left tackle here. He's gonna be crashing in. He's gonna be crashing into the right side of the play, left side of the screen. Whoo! It's a run block. Big fan. I like this guy's aggressiveness. He's a ferocious run blocker. Big fan of that. And part of it too is like what kind of what quality of player are we watching in high school? Are we playing against in high school? I get all that, but there's a certain like attitude and effort is something you can't teach. And this kid plays hard. I really appreciate that. He can stand to clean up some footwork. Plays a little too tall at times. That's good leverage right there, though. I mean that plays a touchdown because of him. I mean, period. Like that plays a touchdown because of Trevor on that play. Just does a nice job. Yeah, I mean that's an effort play right there from the left tackle. Good job. Pushing his dude out of the way. Yeah. And that plays the touchdown because of Trevor. Yeah. That's the common theme I'm seeing a lot of these highlights here is he keeps driving his feet. He keeps playing all the way through. See it back that I lost him. Left tackle there. And doing a good job sealing off inside. I mean, yeah. God, it's good. It's a nice play. Lot smaller defensive end there, but does a good job standing him up. Keeps his feet driving. Says Q. Yep. Seal him off. He just does a nice job sealing off those runs, doesn't he? Really like this. Man, I'm a big fan of Trevor Bindle. He's probably still a little raw. Like, we'll to see what he looks like now. I mean, he's had a full season in a college football program. Now he'll have an off season in a Power 5 program or Power 4 program. So we'll see what he continues to look like. But as far as just kind of like attitude, effort, playing with aggression. I like what I see. I like a lot of what I see here from Trevor. So, I don't know if he's probably not a starter next year, but rotation guy next year, looking down the road, being a starter in 27. Big fan. I high upside on this guy, especially as a run blocker. Really, really like him. So last guy I want to take a look at here is DeAndre Carter. He played limited snaps for Auburn last year, mostly on special teams. So he's only been out of high school for 2 years. So his high school tape isn't too bad. Now, granted, this is him as a sophomore. He has not uploaded any film of himself since 2022. So this is actually his like sophomore highlight tape, but worth noting. So here is that Mater Dei High School in California is one of the, like, arguably maybe even the best high school football program in America, right up there with like IMG Academy and all this. Like Mater Dei cranks out, high end blue chip college football talent all the time. So, I mean, to be a starter at Mater Dei is a big deal. So right there at that left tackle does a good job pushing his guy off there. Good rep. Now he's playing left tackle and the college level. He's gonna play guard. I would guess he's a left or right guard for Iowa State, just because of he's not quite his wingspan isn't huge. He's better as a downhill blocker, which is where you're have for your guards. I like that a lot though. Oh, that's a great rep there from DeAndre. Watch this here. He's gonna get to this level and he's gonna put this linebacker on his ass. Woo. And he's getting after a safety. I mean, I like that a lot. Obviously not like a super long highlight tape from him, but I want to take a look at this one here again. He's crashing down, get his guy sealed off. Running back has oodles of space to run through. I love this rep here. Just right through. I mean, the talent is very clearly there. Let's see. Is this the one we just watched? Okay, so he's it's kind of a see if this thing starts over. Okay, there. So he's gonna be here at this left tackle spot, coming around, getting to the second level, pushing dudes around. Would like to see him finish through that block a little bit better, rather than just keep pushing him versus hitting him. But right there, seals it off, does a nice job, running back for the touchdown. So, based on just kind of raw talent, body size, all that, I really like DeAndre Carter, potentially as a starter at guard next season. He's a massively talented kid. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I didn't do a lot of scouting on the Iowa State guys, just because we kind of know a little bit about them. We've all watched some tape about those guys. Didn't grab like Mekhi Sott because he's coming from Allen Hancock College. Like there's not a lot to look at there. Kind of the same deal as Cade Meyer from Colorado School Mines. Just not a lot to find there really. But overall, though, I think you've got the pieces here. Now, part of this with the offensive line, with these guys and just offensive lines in general, is that the scheme needs to be in good shape. You have to have a guy that can teach the scheme, and but with the guys they've got in the room, they've got the talent and the bodies in the room to have a very solid offensive line next year. I'm a big fan. I hesitate to say it will be an upgrade, but they're bringing in guys that graded out better last year at their spots. Granted, they were playing at a lower level or just playing at a different division entirely, whatever it is. But you're also bringing some talented, former P4 guys that just didn't have a starting spot at their last stop. But did I talk about Cade Moss from Sioux Falls? I did not. He kind of falls in the same group with Cade Meyer and the other kids who I just mentioned. I forgot his name because I've looked at 100 guys. Yeah, Mekhi Sott. Another guy he's hard to find some tape on, hard to get grades on because Sioux Falls isn't high enough for PFF to do grades on yet. But overall, though, I really like the group. Really excited. I think there's a good chance that this group can be effective in Tyler Roll's scheme, especially if you look at like the tape for like Gavin Proudfoot. That's the same system. UNI has run a pro style system forever, and they, I'm a big fan. They found good scheme fits. They found really good scheme fits alongside just some raw talent, some good physicality that they will be able to coach into being a very good offensive line.